In a quiet land called Uz, far from the noise of kingdoms and war, lived a man named Job. He was not a king. He did not command armies or rule cities behind stone walls. But in heaven's eyes, Job was great. He was a man of integrity who turned away from evil and walked in the fear of God. His life was full. His home was filled with joy. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and possessions so great that he was considered the wealthiest man in the East. 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 pairs of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and a very large household of servants. Fields alive with animals, sheep scattered like clouds across the hills, camels stretching in long caravans, oxen straining at the plow, donkeys resting under the shade. Servants moved through his estate, busy with the work of the day. Laughter echoed from his children's feasts, where brothers and sisters gathered to share food, stories, and the happiness of youth. But even in times of celebration, Job's heart was turned toward God. When his children had finished their days of feasting, Job would rise early in the morning and offer sacrifices on their behalf. Perhaps, Job thought, one of them has sinned or spoken against God in their hearts. He stood as a priest for his family, covering them in prayer, whispering their names to heaven. On earth, Job was known as the greatest man in all the East. In heaven, his faith was known by God himself. One day, a gathering took place in the unseen realm. The heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord, and among them came Satan, the accuser. The Lord said to him, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered,
"From roaming through the earth, going back and forth in it."
"Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him, blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil." A shadow formed in the accuser's words.
"Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? You have blessed the work of his hands, his flocks spread across the land. But stretch out your hand and strike all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face."
There, in the silence of heaven, a test was allowed. The Lord said to Satan, "Very well. Everything he has is in your power. But on the man himself do not lay a finger." And the accuser left the presence of the Lord. On earth, the sun rose as it always had. The fields glowed in the light of morning. Servants moved about their work. Job did not know that this would be the darkest day of his life. A messenger came running, breathless, eyes wide with fear.
"Master,"
he cried, while dust still clung to his clothes.
"the oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby when raiders attacked. They struck down the servants with the sword and took the animals away. I am the only one who escaped to tell you."
Before his words had settled, another messenger arrived, stumbling over his steps.
"Fire of God fell from the sky and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. I am the only one who escaped to tell you."
Job's heart pounded. Tragedy now had a rhythm. Then came a third messenger.
Bands of raiders formed 3 companies and swept down on the camels and carried them off. They put the servants to the sword. I am the only one who escaped to tell you."
Loss upon loss, storm upon storm. But the worst had not yet come. While he was still speaking, a fourth messenger arrived, his face as pale as ash.
Your sons and daughters were feasting in the house of your oldest son. Suddenly, a great wind came from across the desert. It struck the four corners of the house. The house collapsed on the young people, and they are dead. I am the only one who escaped to tell you.
Silence fell. The world narrowed. Job rose to his feet as if the weight of 10 worlds pressed on his shoulders. He tore his robe. He shaved his head, symbols of grief deeper than words. Then he fell to the ground and worshipped.
I came from my mother's womb with nothing, and I will depart with nothing. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. His body was broken. His wealth was gone. His children were buried. But his faith still held, fragile, trembling, yet unbroken. Another day came in the courts of heaven. The heavenly beings presented themselves before the Lord, and Satan came with them once more. The Lord spoke again. "Where have you come from?" Satan replied,
From roaming through the earth, going back and forth in it.
The Lord answered, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him, blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. He still maintains his integrity, though you incited me against him to ruin him without reason." The accuser's voice sharpened.
Skin for skin, a man will give all he has for his own life. Stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face.
The Lord answered, "Very well, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life." And Satan left the presence of the Lord. On earth, Job awoke to pain. Boils and sores broke out on his skin from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. He sat among the ashes, the place of mourning and refuse, his body bent, his hands trembling. He took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself to relieve the torment. His wife stood before him, her own heart shattered by the graves of their children, the echo of lost laughter, the ruins of everything they had built. Her voice was raw, cut by grief.
Do you still hold fast to your integrity? Curse God and die.
Job looked at her with eyes full of pain but not hatred.
You speak as one who has lost all hope. Shall we receive good from God and not also accept trouble?
In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. His body was broken. His wealth was gone. His children were buried. But his faith still held, fragile, trembling, yet unbroken. News of Job's suffering spread. 3 of his friends set out from their own lands to come and comfort him: Eliphaz of Teman, Bildad of Shuah, and Zophar of Naamah. From a distance they saw a figure in the ashes and did not recognize him. This broken, scarred man did not look like the Job they once knew. They lifted their voices and wept. They tore their robes, threw dust into the air and onto their heads, and then went down to sit beside him. For 7 days and 7 nights no one spoke a word. They saw that his suffering was very great. Sometimes the deepest love is shown not in answers, but in silence. At last, Job opened his mouth. He did not curse God, but he cursed the day of his birth. He wished the day he was born had been swallowed by darkness. He wished it had never come.
Why was I not hidden in the ground like a stillborn child? Why is light given to those who suffer and life to the bitter of soul? I feared God, I turned away from evil, and yet here I am, broken, alone, my world in ruins.
He did not pretend. He did not hold back his questions. His pain poured out like floodwater. Job's friends began to speak.
Who, being innocent, ever perished? Where were the upright ever destroyed? As I have seen, those who plow evil and sow trouble reap the same.
Bildad followed.
If your children sinned against God, he gave them over to the penalty of their sin. But if you seek God earnestly and plead with the Almighty, he will restore you.
Zophar's words were the harshest.
Know this, God is doubtless punishing you far less than you deserve.
They believed a simple equation. Good things happen to the righteous. Bad things happen to the wicked. So if Job was suffering this much, they believed he must be hiding some great sin. They urged him to confess. But Job maintained his integrity.
I have not hidden my sin in my heart. I helped the poor, I defended the widow, I cared for the orphan, I made a covenant with my eyes, I honored God in my home. Tell me, what sin justifies the graves of my children? What secret evil deserves this pain?
Their voices rose and clashed, each friend insisting he knew how God works. Job's prayers grew more desperate. He did not ask for wealth back. He did not ask for comfort. He wanted something far deeper. He wanted God to answer.
Even now my witness is in heaven. My advocate is on high. My eyes pour out tears to God. I long for the one who would hear me, who would tell me why this has happened.
Then, when the arguments were finished, when human wisdom had exhausted itself, when Job's voice had carried his pain as far as it could go, God spoke, not from a gentle breeze, not from a quiet whisper, from a whirlwind. A storm rolled across the sky. Out of the storm, a voice. Who is this that obscures my plans with words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me, if you understand, who marked off its dimensions? Who stretched the measuring line across it? On what were its footings set? Or who laid its cornerstone while the morning stars sang together and all the heavenly beings shouted for joy? Have you ever commanded the morning or shown the dawn its place? Have you walked in the depths of the sea or explored the vastness of the oceans? Do you know where light lives and where darkness resides? Where does the light come from? Where does the darkness go? Have the gates of death been shown to you? Have you entered the storehouses of the snow or seen the storehouses of the hail? Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loosen Orion's belt? Can you bring forth the constellations in their seasons? Can you send out lightning bolts so they report to you saying, "Here we are"? Do you know when the mountain goats give birth? Do you watch when the doe bears her fawn? Do you give the horse its strength? Do you clothe its neck with a flowing mane? Is it by your wisdom that the hawk takes flight and spreads its wings toward the south? Does the eagle soar at your command and build its nest on high? Who provides food for the raven when its young cry out to God? Does the rain have a father? Who fathers the drops of dew? Can you loosen Leviathan's jaws? Can you put a leash on Behemoth? Question after question after question. God did not explain the reason for Job's pain. He revealed the greatness of his wisdom. He did not tell Job about the conversation in heaven or the accuser's challenge. Instead, he showed Job the size of his power, the depth of his knowledge, the care he extends to every corner of creation. Job listened. The storm of God's voice shook him more deeply than all his losses. At last he answered, "I know," he said, "that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. You asked, 'Who is this that obscures my plans without knowledge?' That was me. I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore I repent in dust and ashes." Job's questions met God's presence, and that was enough. The Lord rebuked Job's friends for not speaking truthfully about him. He commanded them to bring offerings and told them that Job would pray for them. The one they had accused became the one who interceded for them. When Job prayed for his friends, something turned. God restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as before. The herds returned greater than before. Fields once empty filled with life again. 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 pairs of oxen, 1,000 female donkeys. Then God gave Job 7 more sons and 3 more daughters, the same number as before. But this time, he gave them beauty that surpassed all the women in the land. His daughters were so beautiful that none in the land could be compared to them. His brothers and sisters and former acquaintances came and ate with him in his house. They comforted him for all the trouble the Lord had allowed. Job lived many more years, long enough to see his children, his grandchildren, and their children after them. He did not receive back the same children he lost, nor the same days he once knew. But God wove his pain into a story of deeper trust, stronger faith, and restored hope. Job's life began in blessing, passed through suffering, and ended in peace. Job's story is not a tale of easy answers. It is the story of a man who loved God in sunshine and in storm, who worshipped with empty hands and kept trusting when everything else fell away. It reminds us that faith is not proven when everything makes sense, but when nothing does, and we still cling to the one who made us. We may never hear all the reasons for our pain. We may never see every thread God is weaving, but like Job, we can say, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." And in the end, when the dust settles, when the storms grow quiet, we will discover that the God who seemed silent was listening all along, holding us in hands that never let go. If this story of Job touched you, let me know in the comments. And if you'd like more stories like this, subscribe to Stories of the Olives and share this video with someone who needs encouragement.